Howdy-ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Oilers. Oilers versus Panthers, game 24. Can you believe it? November 22nd, 2025. Pre-show. Sad news. Noah Phillip was placed on long-term injury reserve and Walman will not be available for this game and probably not the next game either. What I'm hearing is he has some really big impact bruises on his legs. And he was in a walking cast at one point. So, yeah, I kind of predicted it last game. I said I'd be surprised if he made it back. I said he'd try to make it back, but I wasn't counting on it. And so I wasn't really surprised about Walman, but I was disappointed to hear Phillips is on long-term injury reserve. They're not saying anything beyond upper body for Phillips, but being placed on long-term injury reserve means he's not available for a few weeks at a minimum. So that, the poor kid can't catch a break this season. He really can't. He comes out gangbusters and he gets sent to the press box for no reason at all. He comes back, he's gangbusters again, and he gets sent back to the press box again. He comes back, okay, he's not going gangbusters anymore. He learned that lesson. Don't outshine the stars. So he's just been playing that third, fourth line, and now he's injured. He can't get a break this season, it seems. As for Walman, I'm not surprised. Walman took a huge hit that hurt his leg. Like I said in the last game recap, I thought he was concussed. I really thought he was concussed, and it turned out it was a leg injury. And I didn't expect him back, but he toughed it out. He came back, and then he took a full-on slap shot to the unprotected part of his leg, and he tried to come back from that even, but he had to call it, and he didn't finish the Tampa game. So again, I wasn't surprised he's unavailable tonight. This means the Oilers had to call someone up. Enter Connor Clattenburg. From all word, Clattenburg is a young, tough, physical 20-year-old who skill-wise is not quite ready for the NHL. So hopefully he has a great game and Knobloch protects him from getting exposed out there. Speaking of getting exposed, Savoy is back up on the top line again with McDavid and Rosevich. This makes zero sense to me. It really doesn't. Panthers play a very physical game and they're missing some of their star players, so their call-ups make them an even more physical team. So Nobby counters by removing all grit physicality from the McDavid line. Now, I'm going to jump ahead. Rosevich had a great game. Savoy got a goal. McDavid got nothing done. But the goal and the 3 goals had nothing to do with the line play. Like, as a unit, Savoy, McDavid, and Rosevich, they were not effective at all. Individually, Rosevich got 2 goals. Savoy got an empty netter. So individually they were okay, but and McDavid did what McDavid does individually, and he got some nice chances. But as a unit, it wasn't there because they had no physicality, no grit, no net front presence, no one to win the puck battles along the boards. Yeah, This is what I've been saying. Knobloch keeps going back to reward his favorites, and Savoy is one of his favorites. Make no mistake about it. And that's not on Savoy, that's on Knobloch. But he keeps rewarding Savoy when Savoy does not fit on that line. You got Rosevich, who's a shooter. You got McDavid, who is a elite all-world player. You need grit. It's just like on the second line, why Leon, Podkolzin, and Rosevich work so well together. Each brought something to the line, and together they made a unit. Knobloch keeps putting these 3 skilled guys together on the top line, but they're just 3 individual skilled guys. They're not a unit. Hyman should be on that top line, and he should not move off it. And then when RNH comes back, you drop Rosevich to the second line, and you put RNH up on the top line. Stauffer is going on and on that he thinks Nugent Hopkins is going to be on the third line, and we're just back to stupidity. I get it. You guys love Savoy for some reason. And I admit Savoy's got skill, but he's not an all-star. He's not even a top 6 player on this team, if we're being brutally honest. And yet bona fide players are being pushed aside so that you can play your favorite. And I will never agree with that. And I will never support that. So I wrote, I do not think this line will stay together long. I was wrong. I admit it. It stayed together for the whole night, and it did absolutely nothing as a unit. As again, Rosevich got 2 goals. Savoy got an empty net goal. McDavid had some individual rushes. Individually, they got their opportunities and chances. As a unit, they did sweet dick all game. We shall see how long it plays out. On the upside, finally our best defensive pairing back together. Nurse and Regula, in their very limited time together this season, they were hands down our best pairing. It wasn't even close. It made 0 sense to me that they were split up once Regula was healthy. But this is back to what I was saying is Nobby rewards his favorites, no matter how poorly they play, and he punishes those who are not his personal favorites, no matter how well they play. Nurse, Regula, Philp, Lazar, and Tomasek are all not Knobloch's favorites. So that's why you see Philps, Lazar, and Tomasek and Regula doing unexplainable press box duty. Nurse is too costly for that treatment, so instead, he's never given a dedicated partner since CC was on the team, and he hasn't. Go back and watch. They keep throwing they keep putting Darnell in to lift up everybody else's games, but they never set Darnell up to succeed. And at the start of the season, Darnell and Regula were lights out good. Then Regula got hurt. Okay, that's understandable. He's not playing. But when Regula came back, they put him on the third pairing rather than with Nurse. And then they put Regula in the press box rather than put him up with Nurse. You know, it's like, I get so frustrated with this, people. I really do. It drives me absolutely nuts. Also, Skinner is in net. I'm just crossing fingers that we get a 60-minute effort like we got in Tampa. All right, so on to the game. Period 1. Oilers goal at 19:35. Rosevich from Bouchard and Ekholm. Bouchard holds the blue line, passes to Rosevich, who puts a really soft shot on net. Puck hits Bobrovsky's pads, bounces up, rolls over his pads, and dribbles into the net. Like, you could not score this goal 99.999% of the time. The puck would not bounce that way. But this was at 0.0001% of the time, and it just dribbled in the net. 1-0 Edmonton. As the old saying goes, they don't ask you how they go in, they just ask you how many went in. 2 nice stops by Skinner, but here we go again with Sportsnet. 5.5 minutes into the game, Sportsnet says no shots on net for Florida. First shot on net, according to Sportsnet, comes at 6 minutes into the game. I mean, shots from Florida. Yet we've watched Skinner make 3 saves at this point. Like I said it last game, I think Sportsnet has a real issue in their engineering department, technical department. I don't know if it's 1 or 2 or 3 people, but somebody on that crew is not doing their job, and they haven't been all season. And it's starting to get a little bit annoying. Florida goal at 13:30. Skinner makes the save, but Florida jams the puck in his pads, pushing him and the puck into the net. No challenge by Nobby, despite Skinner objections. 1-1. I don't know what else to say. It's like that. It has always been illegal to push the goalie into the net to get a goal. Why Knobloch didn't challenge, I don't know. I mean, we saw the replays and it was crystal clear. This goal should not have counted. Oiler goal at 12:54. Rosevich from Bouchard and Nurse. Nurse digs out the puck, sends the puck to the blue line. Bouchard takes the pass and soft passes to Rosevich, who fires from the face-off dot to the top right corner. 2-1 for the Oilers. So about Sportsnet, I have counted at least 5 shots on Skinner now, and 6 by the Oilers. Sportsnet has it at 4-2 for the Oilers. And the reason I'm talking about this, I'm not sure how the league handles the save percentages, like what stats they use. Do they count the shots themselves, or do they just go with what the telecast or whatever is saying? Because if they do it that way, then this is one of the reasons why Edmonton's goalies seem to have worse save percentages than they really look like they're having. Because I actually counted the shots this time, and it was 6-4 It was not 4-2. And they never did adjust those shots on net. So the first 5.5 minutes, the saves Skinner made didn't count in this game. 11:25, scrum turns into quasi-fight. Fredericks and Greer given 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike and a 10-minute misconduct for both. So it's 4-on-4. Florida penalty at 8:05, interference. Oiler goal at 6:02. So it wasn't a power play goal. It was seconds after the power play ended. Ekholm from Nurse and Henrique. Rather sloppy play in Florida's zone. Eventually comes to Henrique on the boards. He passes to Nurse, who unloads from the blue line. Bobrovsky stops Nurse's shot, but Ekholm is standing in the slot, buries the rebound. 3-1 for the Oilers. End of the first. Shots on goal, 12-8 for the Oilers. 3-1 Oilers lead. Solid overall effort by the Oilers, and team showing much more pushback than we saw in the first 22 games of this season. Not to put the cart ahead of the horse, but so far it seems that Tampa game was the wake-up call the team needed. Only thing I didn't like was the goal against. Last time I looked, pushing a goalie into the net was illegal. This game should be 3-0. 1 period down, 2 to go. Second period. Great early second period save by Skinner on the rat, Brad Marchand. Florida has had Leon's line trapped in its own zone for 1.5 minutes, but Skinner wisely freezes the puck for a line change. Another big save by Skinner. Shots now 13-13, 3.5 minutes into the second. So Florida came out flying, and they absolutely dominated the second period. Nurse spots Savoy and sends him a gorgeous pass, but Savoy tips it just wide of the net. Oiler goal at 13:15. Podkolzin from Leon and Bouchard. Podkolzin grabs the puck and takes it to the crease line. So he came down to the red line. Here's the net. He's over like where Leon usually stands, and he shoots to the top part of the net and he scores. Short side, shot over Bobrovsky's shoulder. 4-1 Oilers. Goalie Bob has been chased from the game. Oiler penalty at 11:58. Tomasek interference. Florida goal at 9:56. So this wasn't a power play goal either. This was like our goal. It was 2 seconds after the power play ended. Technically, we're still shorthanded. Florida scores typical Leon style power play goal. 4-2 Oilers. Oilers penalty, Kulak 7:31 hooking. Panthers goal at 6:30. This was a power play goal. Skinner again makes the initial save, but Panthers hammer in the rebound. 4-3 Oilers. Oilers need to stop taking penalties, as Florida has massively outplayed them this second period. Shots with 5 minutes remaining in the second are 20-27 for Florida. Panthers penalty at 4:41 slashing. Nothing comes of that. Florida has outshot Edmonton 19-7 in the second period alone. Leon is stoned by the replacement goalie with 2 seconds left in the second. End of the second period. Shots on goal are now 24-28 for the Panthers, but it's still 4-3 for the Oilers. That period was all Panthers. Shots on goal were 12-20 for the Panthers, and 12 for the Oilers is being generous. Oilers stopped doing what has been so successful for them the last 4 periods. Hopefully they return to playing a full game in the third. For some weird reason, this team only wants to play shinny no matter how often they find success playing actual hockey. And that's what happened is they just started focusing on trying to score. They weren't hitting, they weren't, and I guess you could say some of that was being tired. This is the third game in 4 nights, and this is the last game of a long road trip, and all the cliches, but at a certain point you just got to play. Third period. 9 minutes into the third, and Edmonton's looking stationary and tired, which is what I was just saying in the second. It seems like the road had caught up to them. What I wrote is, come on, boys, tough it out, 11 more minutes. Huge save by Skinner on delayed penalty. Oilers penalty, 8:51, Hyman for hooking. Oilers empty net goal at 2:40, McDavid. McDavid steals the puck in our zone, and he just skates it down all the way to the net and puts it in. He didn't shoot it or take a chance. He just used his jets and skated down and put it in. 5-3 Oilers. Oilers goal at 2:17, empty net goal for Savoy from Janmark. Janmark steals the puck on the Florida blue line, sends it to Savoy for an easy empty netter. 6-3 Oilers. Big scrum at 36.3 seconds left in the third. Somehow Florida gets a power play despite two Florida players jumping Clattenburg. You know, I don't know. When I officiate, and now granted I only officiated minor hockey up to the junior B level, but whenever two players jumped one player, made sure both of those players went to the penalty box. So I don't understand how Florida got the power play, but it didn't matter. End of the game. Oilers win 6-3. Shots on goal, 31-38 Panthers. It was a hard-fought victory. You could see the Oilers were wearing down in the second, but Oilers bore down and gutted it out in the third. Hopefully, the team can get some rest now. This road trip is finished. Apparently, they're flying back tonight, and then they got a full day off Sunday. They're going to have a practice on Monday and a day off, and then they play on Tuesday. 3 stars tonight were Rosevich, 2 goals. Bouchard, 3 assists. I could have said Ekholm, because he had 3 assists as well. Maybe I should have just said the pairing of the two. And Skinner, 35 saves. Slugs, for the second game in a row, there was no slugs. Like, the Oilers dipped in the second period, but they came back in the third and they made up for the dip. Rosevich continues to shine. I still prefer him with Leon and Podkolzin. But until RNH is back, I think Ross is up there with McDavid. But I really think they need Hyman up there with McDavid and Rosevich, not Savoy. Again, it's nothing against Matt Savoy, but it's 3 individual skill players. That line is lacking grit. That line's lacking physicality. That line is lacking a net front presence. And it shows 5-on-5. Any success these guys have is always an individual play. It's not a unit play. So even though McDavid, Rosevich, and Hyman didn't have success in the Tampa play, the line played like a unit in the Tampa game. This game, these 3 played like individuals again. It's not a good line. Bouchard played like we need him to play, helping offensively and average defensively with no glaring turnovers or defensive mistakes. And that's all we've ever asked of Evan Bouchard. Average defensively. Do your offensive thing and just be average defensively. That is what he was not being for the first 22 games of this year. He was being horrible defensively. And honestly, I personally don't think he will get an invite to the Olympic team because of it. Like, at the start of the season, it was there for his grabbing, but his play for those first 22 games was so horrendous that I don't see them inviting him. Unless there's injuries, of course. Skinner was only beat twice because that first goal against Skinner should never have counted. You cannot push the goalie into a net. But even still, it was a 35 save performance with a 900 plus save percentage for Stu. And extra bonus tonight, Canadians just beat the Leafs 5-3 in regulation. So the next game is Tuesday versus Dallas at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on Sportsnet. And the Oilers are now 10-9-5. So we're 1 game over 500, and let's keep it rolling. That's my video for tonight. If you like this video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share, it does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. Takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button down the bottom of the screen. Always feel free to leave a comment. Please come in, leave a comment, tell me what you think. Not only does it get us interacting, but it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.